the inside scoop with Alex and Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I am Jeff Doss, and welcome, everyone. This is our 7th anniversary show of Inside Scoop. Kind of crazy. And I am super excited to have on one of the best people that I have met in this sport, and one of my friends as a young, as I guess a teenager. Yeah, we were teenagers when we first met.
Right.
Chris Millares.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. Right.
Thanks for being here. Hand claps to you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
We were fans. Jeff, do you remember those videos? I didn't even know who did the production company, Black and Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were on those videos all the time. We used to watch and like take notes. Like, we have to kick like this guy. We have to do this. And we watch everything we saw in those videos and go back, wet our hair like Carmichael Simon and spin in circles, like, when you jump kick, like, yeah, that's how you win. That's what it is. But it's
exactly.
been a long time. And let me say, man, seriously, always been a gentleman, always been cool, class act. And it's such a great guy. Yeah, totally. So, and congratulations on 7th anniversary. That's awesome. So thanks again.
Yep. Thank you, man.
Yep.
It's definitely
Thank you. I've just been riding coattails for the past 7 years.
What's that? Alex, tell me about you a little bit. I recognize you, of course, from the cast, right? And
yeah, well, I've been a competitor for a couple of a couple of decades, but
right,
almost a decade off from that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Right.
Having the show with Jeff. This is the 7th anniversary of it. It was really funny because you know what? I don't think I've ever mentioned this before. Before our first episode together.
Yeah.
This is a real story. Because Travis is the architect of all of this. Travis Plowden is the architect of the whole thing. This is really what he told me. And he goes, "Hey, I want to do a podcast with you, Alex." And I'm like, "I'm on board. I'm in." And he goes, "I haven't even told you who your co-star is." I'm like, "It don't matter." Right. And so he goes, "I want you to do a show with you and Marquin McDonald." Right.
Right.
And Marquin McDonald, he's Chicago. He is Chicago through and through. He's a TAC, Tanks and Academy Chicago black belt. A good competitor, good fighter. But he's just a good dude, right? He's really, really, he's a philanthropist. He's very much, when I say like he is Chicago, like he does everything like in this, he's really, really cool. So that was the plan, is that we were going to get together, and we couldn't really figure it out. And we were trying to figure out, like, are we going to do it online? Are we going to do it in person, since we're both kind of local? And then Travis was like, wait a minute, scratch that. I think I got a better idea.
Right.
And Jeff and I have been doing the show ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. And bro, you sound like you could be on the episode of Tires next week and be awesome at it and crush too. So I know you go in. Yeah, I can see you sitting there next to Shane Gillis, like just riffing and be like, "Oh, this is gold." Like during this, like,
yeah.
Oh man, yeah,
that's fun.
But no, seriously, yeah, this is a great credit and that's awesome. Love it. So, but where do you want to start, guys? Where do you want to go? Where do you
Well, I love that, but that's essentially, we want you to know, Chris, that when we have guests on, dude, floor is yours. All right. Okay. We're going to riff a little bit, but we're going to ask some questions. Be like, well, tell us about you. Because essentially this episode's about you. All right.
Okay.
But we love stories. In fact, before we get going in, I have never been accused of being incredibly accurate upon everything, but I feel like I am all the time. So last week we were talking about Amerikick last week, right? Right. Close to you. All right. So we're talking about Amerikick, and I was asking, what were your favorite Amerikick memories? Mark Russo says, "What? I mean, you got to talk about the Ross Levine and Raymond Daniels fight on
No.
finals.
Yep.
And I'm like, absolutely. I gave a play-by-play of exactly how it went down. And when they went off the stage, and I was to the move accurate, except I
Right,
got their positions flip-flopped 100%. I was right on the play-by-play, but I messed it up and I got called out. You know what was great? Ross Levine never shies away from calling me out. So
Right.
shout out to you, Ross. He's always been an awesome dude.
It's like Leonidas and Zeus on stage. Raymond Daniels, that guy, going at it like crazy. Like, said, just watch this. This is what you want to watch. I almost feel bad for the next division coming up. You know what I mean? In the warm-up spot. Yeah, Raymond Daniels just fired a backflip. He's landed it 15 times in competition. And also just as good. He's very mean and intense fight. But I remember the stage came down. Everybody's like going crazy. There's always somebody panicking for no reason. Like, how are we going to get the thing back up? Well, you lift it, right? It's just created chaos and excitement. And but no, Raymond Daniels was awesome. I always looked up to him growing up. And it's funny you said Larry Tankston earlier. It was interesting. But I remember one year the Diamond Nationals, and Alex, you said 10 years removed. I'm more than that, right? I mean, I look like I'm 10, probably age in reverse. Like, I just stopped looking like Mowgli from the Jungle Book. But I remember those competitions you're far removed. But I remember sitting down with Raymond Daniels, and I thought he was going to be like, not talk to me, and I said, like, what is it about you that makes you great? When did you make that decision? What happened? What did you do? And I'll never forget it. It was like after the finals, Diamond Nationals, I lost. I think I took second, and I was there with Mark Russo. It's nothing more than a brother.
What year is this?
Mark, I couldn't even tell you. I can remember some strange fact from high school. I couldn't even tell you what year that was. I just remember that.
I think it was 07.
Was that right? But I remember I lost, and I'll tell you, I lost to Kodak, who's amazing, a great fighter, right?
Yeah.
But I said, what is it about you that separates you from everyone else, right? I mean, yes, there's going to be people faster, stronger. And he just said, he started going through all these different angle drills, movement drills, being obsessed, having that, he might even said Mamba mentality at the time. I hope I'm not misquoting, and it was almost like, it's not like he was teaching me. He gave me certain drills, but it was almost like that another step in the mindset, right? So it's like Mark Russo, my instructor, taught me everything I know about martial arts, right? But then you have influences that come along the way. Bob Leiker being an amazing one. We can get him in a little bit. I'm offended he said Robin Williams, by the way. That's not my favorite comedian. All right, I'll tell him. Sebastian Maniscalco, sir. Yeah, so,
oh, nice.
There we go.
But it was all these things about that mindset. And you start to come to this conclusion that people who are incredibly successful are just willing to go through the things that other people aren't. You said 7th anniversary for a podcast. Yeah, that takes some type of adversity, struggle, figuring things out. You probably get a weird comment here and there. You have to kind of train your body to ignore it and keep moving in service of your vision or your why while you're running it, right? So that was cool. And then I just, watching as a fan from the sideline growing up, beyond the movie Best of the Best, right? You start to sit on the side of the mat and watch these great fighters growing up in the 90s, and you're like, wow, I want to do that. I want to do that. How are they doing that? Why is this guy much shorter, but he's still winning? Why is this guy, how is this guy much taller, still pulling off a jump spin kick? What do they do, And you kind of gain that knowledge throughout the years, and you try to learn everything from a loss, try to learn everything from those people that you bump into and meet. And, it's kind of fun to see what happens, the outcome of all that, though. But that's always the one thing, too. Growing up and until I stopped, I was always still a fan of it. Instead of saying that guy pulled off this incredible trick, or did you see, or instead of saying well, that guy's terrible, his axe kick's not that good, or this guy's trick isn't that great, right? It's almost looking at no, that's pretty awesome, and you can fold that into what you're doing if you just pay attention and get out of the way of yourself, right? Which, I mean, everybody in martial arts has an ego to a certain degree, but the second you kind of move aside from that, it's wow, there's some cool information that you can take in and apply to your own game, right? Which, being a dad and hopefully, students that I've loved through the years, teaching them how to use their resources is such a powerful thing. I'm not Yoda on a hill, flip 5 times, sword. No, you're going to learn from here, this person, that person. and it all turns into this person that becomes you, that best version of you. So yeah. So anyway, not to tie that all in with like Raymond and that stuff, but in all the influence, and this definitely isn't going to be a hero session. Like, I'd like to thank Bob for pushing me that one time, and Mark, I was crying because I lost Korean forums, and you always had my back, but it's just real cool. Just something I think you probably share with your students too. Like, get out of your own way.
Yep.
No, it's not my job to make you like me. It's my job to bring the best out of you. And then when you can get that in your own headspace, really cool things happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. Chris, it's funny because I had that conversation right before I got ready for the podcast, because I have black belt testing this weekend. And so I'm making, giving that whole thing, getting them understanding that, hey, you're not going to like me after it until it's completely done. It's just the way it is.
Right. But they'll come out better.
Yeah, you're going to come out better. You're going to grow. So that's what it's going to be. So
how many of the people that you influence or touch in some way at your martial arts schools or work with or come across eventually become doctors, lawyers, accountants, entrepreneurs, and even if they're with you for a month, 2 months, there's something that you impart to them that hopefully is useful along the way. And that's like their black belt testing. Yes, you're not going to like me in the moment. You're not going to. You might think I'm the meanest person on earth, but it's all about extracting the best for you. I just said it to my daughter a little bit ago, like, what's one of dad's favorite movies? Miracle, right? Where the hockey coach is yelling like, again, but it was all this big ploy to bring out the best out of this like unique group of players to win the Olympics that year, which was real cool. But yeah, and not to go too far into this like motivation, inspiration, Tony Robbins type. I
love it.
We'll definitely get to some stories but no, I just thought that was worth mentioning.
No, that's a great one. That's definitely it, Chris. Let's go ahead and let's share something, because we did share last week on the show too about how NBL was different with the intros and the walk-ins and the just the performance that we had or that people had back then. And so I got into one of the ones of talked about Nick, talk about you coming in on a skateboard once. You had all kinds of stuff, man. What are some of the ones that you did that stand out to you for musical forms?
Do you realize after this, some of our students may quit once they know this out?
I know.
Because this wasn't on YouTube. This was on the VHS filmed by a player from some team that had 18 cameras and batteries that never seemed to work.
That's right. David Clifford says he loved the 007. The 007 was cool.
Carol, do we have the backup charger? When they're trying to like you got 8. But I came in on a skateboard.
So, I want to know how you thought of this.
Well, so growing up in the city, there's a lot of you see a lot of kids skateboarding,
Okay.
And by the way, I was never great at skateboarding. I tried to pick it up later on and just failed miserably. My son picked it up like this, me, forget it, But I actually went to some kids in the neighborhood, like, how do you do that? I just want to do that trick right there. How do I do that? Yeah. Because I guess at the time it was considered a cool thing. I'll say considered. Yeah. Because I look back at it now, like Nick was Indiana Jones. I was the Back to the Future guy on the skateboard. That was the theme, Back to the Future.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Back to the Future.
And I've never watched that movie from the beginning to the end, by the way. But like,
stop.
Wow. No. I know. Yeah, a lot of I gotta step my game up there, Alex. I'm sorry. But I wasn't running around like, and when someone comes, Marty McFly, I'm like, I don't know. But that's it. It was you had to be choreographed to the music. If you could go with some type of theme, and if you could pull off the intro, do some type of skateboard trick and walk in under your arm and use it for that would somehow enhance the performance. Yeah. Or take away from the fact that you weren't doing the same things, same types of flips and tricks that the other guys in your division were doing, But either way, it was like a performance thing. I learned one trick. I've never been on I've been on a skateboard, but not like that ever since. Like one little flip trick to walk in, and I think a 7 or 8 year old kid in the neighborhood taught me how to do it. His mom would
cool.
come home, and I'm saying, do that one more time, buddy. No, one more time. Mom, hold on, Mom. One more time. I'm like standing there with a skateboard. So, but that was it. Now, Nick was Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Nick, and he had a whip and everything.
Oh, whip. God. He had the hat. he had Harrison Ford's autograph. No,
Wait, so all right.
Yeah.
So for someone like me that did only like a handful of NBL events
right.
in life, right? So I wasn't exposed to all of this creative madness, right? So the biggest like theatrics that I guess someone like me would have seen would have been like
The Crow.
Butch Togasala, you know. But even in the 90s NASCA, it was kind of tame and compared to what it was 90s NBL. Or like the biggest thing that we would have seen was Carmichael doing the Crow.
Yeah, doing the Crow. Yeah,
that's the biggest one, right?
Was cool.
It was pretty iconic,
right?
But that sounds like it's an everyday thing at an NBL tournament. It sounds like this. It could be a dozen like cosplay forms going on at the same time.
Oh yeah, this it's like a movie set. This one's dressing out to be one of the good fellas. Is that guy Tony Soprano? You know, like, what is this guy trying? What is he doing? And it was a fighter warming up with, you know, but with the cigar, like, hey, Silvio, you know, but okay. So listen, I'm out of touch, and one of the cool things about aging, if there's anything cool about getting older, it's almost like I get to take a look at like an outside perspective looking in. And by the way, the observational humor is insane. It's funny, which is why I love like running the finals, and you say certain things that you weren't able to see when you're inside of it. Word. But you observe now NBL, now Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. You had to be choreographed to the beat X% of the kata, right? Like if you use music,
75%,
something like that. You had to do X number of kicks, like standing kicks, X number of hand combinations. That was my daughter in the background. I think she just wanted to get on camera.
There you go.
And
yeah, I think it was like you had to do at least 3 kicks in a row
without putting your foot down.
So
without putting your foot down.
And I guess this is funny, but part of me thinks like, do we have to do the costumes because we're looking for some type of edge? Like, you know what I mean? Is that what this is? Or, you know, or is it more of a like performance? But in terms of like rules, you would watch it. The NASCA guys from the NBL are like, oh my God, do you see the way they're flipping? Like the first time you see John Valera do anything, you're like, whoa, you know, or like back to the old videos, Carmichael Simon spins and he has like his hair's wet. Little do you know, the judges are probably aggravated. Like, is this necessary? Like, you know, but yeah, there was more of a, I don't know. It was more of like a performance, had to be choreographed to certain beats. There was much more rules than what I perceive you see in NASCA, where it's like, you see some of these kids tricking and doing stuff. It's like, wow, they're like let out of the cage and go, you know, go do you. Yeah. So is that fair? Is that a fair statement? And
that is a fair statement. Yeah. And it was interesting, especially for me going back and forth and doing both, you know? And because I started with NASCA, then I went to NBL and then I did both. And then I really, you know, I struggled with NBL more than I did with NASCA initially. And so then it kind of just became like, all right, well, I'm sticking with NBL until I conquer this Super Grands thing, which was a tough thing for me to figuring it out, you know? And it was just, you know, because most of the time, that time of the year was my recovery time to get ready for the next season. And like that's when you got to kick it into high gear to get ready for Christmas time, right?
No, bold statement, but like, I guess, well, of course, NASCA won, right? I mean, when you look at it, it's But didn't you feel like this is
like that though,
Super Grands and NBL tournaments? Don't you feel like you almost felt like there was a certain type of behavior that was expected, otherwise you're going to get fined, or like, you know, you must not enter the I guess they had the caution tape, and if you went under the caution tape, you would get fined by some arbitrator in the mail with some official letter. And like, I was like, what is this? You know, it's like, it was really, when I look at it again from outside looking in and thinking about it, it's like there was a lot more I don't know. I just don't know how cool that was, right? And when you're talking about a sport that
is the culture
that blends this creativity and you want like the Leonardo da Vinci of extreme forms, figuring out magic on the mat and doing something that's like, whoa. I just think that NASCA would facilitate that more forms wise when you look at it, like in terms of like tricks and explosive. Now, the costumes, I don't know, Jeff. I don't think they lasted that long. Might have been 15 or 16.
No, it faded out in the 2000s when really a lot of the NASCA guys and the other teams came in. You know, when Team Elite came in, when CS came in, when JPM came in, and then it kind of evolved. The sequence kind of was the last sequence uniform I saw consistently was probably in 2000, and then there was a few people that brought it back and stuff, but
right. Or maybe they said, or maybe that kind of wave came in, like, all right, let's lose the costumes, let's go.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
maybe let me ask you guys this then, as the NASCAR guy, right? Do you think, like, after the 2000, when JPM started dipping their toe in, CJB and SES, just like you mentioned, when they started coming in, they likely weren't wearing the theatrics like that. They didn't have any sequence on. So was it, I'm asking, was it those guys winning? Did it almost change the perception and the culture to be like, all right, we can get rid of the theatrics and then start focusing more on how to beat these guys? Is that kind of what it felt like?
Yeah, okay. So once, no. And Alex, if I could throw something in there, right? I guess when you get to that level in any type of sport, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, sport, martial arts, you have to eliminate everything that just doesn't allow you to get to the highest level of you. I mean, LeBron James spends what, $1 million a year on his upkeep and health, right?
I think it's just.
Do you get to this mindset where it's like, let me lose the hat and the skateboard, and I'm going to spend more time tricking and flipping, and I'm going to get obsessive about it until I can do what they do? Because this is just my opinion, perception. Again, been out of the game, a long time. But when you look at NASCAR competitors that came in, like, you're like, whoa, it's like a different level of acrobatic skill, right? Now, then you have the NBL guys who argue, yeah, but their basics need some fine tuning. Like,
yeah, but at the same time, a lot of NBL people. Yeah, there was a lot of NBL people whose basics were not good either, and that was
right.
From us coming in from NASCAR, we were like, oh, these guys are sloppy, but they're hitting the beat.
So, yeah, there was that. Yeah. But okay, if I had to, pick one, yes, the NASCAR form that you watch and the adrenaline and the rush, that's something that, me personally as a fan, I was always drawn to. Versus that type of thing. And you're right. There was like sloppy over here and there.
Yeah, it was both. Yeah. Well, and for me, Chris, it was. Let's see. Actually, I thought in many ways there was more flipping in NBL, but there was more tricking in NASCAR. So what I mean is because the rule was you can have up to 7 gymnastics techniques. That was
it too. Yeah.
So everyone put more gymnastics flipping into it, and NASCAR was more creating tricks, which technically weren't a gymnastics technique. So I could do
interesting.
I could do a technique that isn't considered, that's not in the gymnastics handbook, and be okay. And that was kind of a thing where people were trying to figure that whole thing out, right?
That is so interesting you say that.
Yeah, so that was kind of the way, and for me as someone who never did a flip, especially competing wise, I was trying to be creative in different ways with my kicking and then my jump spinning, my 720s and stuff like that. And
we are the artists that we are, right? And that's a cool thing.
Right. And so we have to try to figure that out. So that's where I thought, and let's go to you, Chris, because let's see that shift from 2000 where you were super creative and you were super choreographed and everything. But then when you came back and you went to adults in 2001, like you said, you really focused on the tricking and the flipping.
The tricking and the flipping,
And you started making grands on stage as an adult and winning grands in forms as well as in fighting.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. And I'll tell you the day I quit too, which is real funny. Like in terms of, I can't do forms anymore. I'll tell you, it's actually a funny story. But going back, I remember, this is funny because David Douglas, I'll never forget, there was a Super Grands. Remember that name? I think the guy's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. B-twist, 540 hook aerial. He was explaining to a judge how a B-twist was a martial arts move and not a gymnastics move. And he would just perform it over and over again. And he would do that into a 540 until, as he's explaining, I'm like, this is the most intense PowerPoint ever. This guy's got visuals. He's flipping all over the place. He's like showing. It's like you play a video game. You press the button over and over again. The character keeps doing it. He was doing that while articulating why something was a martial arts move as opposed to like a gymnastics move. So you're right, Jeff. I get like a round off traditional like back tuck like you'd see in gymnastics versus like a round off flash or like a cork, something like that.
Right.
That's a cool distinction between NBL and NASCAR. If I had to, but yes, once you see that, then you start to realize, okay, there's another bar. Like, I don't know if I never speak for anybody, but I feel like if you don't have that next bar in like martial arts, whatever it is, I mean, it could be for teaching, fighting, sport, martial arts. it eventually just you fizzle out and you wind up talking about the old days, right? I mean, it's just like
Correct.
that,
Correct.
which I say that knowing we're going to talk about the old days.
We're talking about the old days, but yeah.
No, but it's our commentary on the
Right.
old days. But there's another bar. So then at that point for me, it was, yeah, I want to learn how to do that. If nothing else, I just think it's cool. And there's some type of skill set of throwing your body in the air, twisting, contorting, and landing. Like Steve Tirada. Did you ever watch that guy?
Exactly.
Oh,
Steve Tirada definitely pushed that, you know.
Pushed that. But yes, it was over and over and over. And it's crazy the amount of work that you have to put in like anything else. So now we're stripping the costumes. We're, really focusing in on what it means to what you have to do to be great at this and eliminate the things that don't work. And remember, you're balancing school, college, life, family, all at the same time. And once you get to that point, you just practice obsessively over and over again. And we didn't have YouTube. I mean, we'd had,
No.
I hate to say that we had DVD and the VHS tape.
Match Link came out just around that time.
Yeah,
Sport Martial Arts just came out during that time.
came out.
Like 03.
Right.
No, like before that, because actually.
Oh, no, that's right. It was not before that.
Yeah, in 2001, because of how amazing the junior competitors were, they put out a DVD, right?
Right.
A DVD of all the top junior films competitors, right? And it was from the end of 2000 to the middle of 2001, and it featured a lot of NBL and NASCA, and it was really cool when you looked at it because most of us were competing both circuits at that time.
It brings back so many memories because remember the whole campaign was "We're not black and blue" production. We're not black and blue. Which is right because it was really they would dig at these athletes that were just trying to get better and learn, and like it was just a much healthier, I guess, reporting of sport martial arts as it was. So, but I'll never forget it because I went back to the school and Mark Russo's huge influence in my life. He would say, like, you want to be great, do it over and over and over again until you can't stand up, then do it again. You've got to go places in your head that people aren't willing to go. You want to be the best. You're going to lose to the best a few times, but you have to learn from it, keep growing. And you have to earn your opportunity. You know what I mean? It was like, that was like a sediment that when I met Bob Leiker, I mean, we can get into that in a second, why that clicked for me. I don't even think he knows this because I never told him this to his face. Like, actually, like how, like what he meant to me as a fighting coach, like what that influence was right there. But we'll get to that later. But no, you're right, Jeff. And it was just practicing over and over. It's the David Douglas I mentioned. It was the B twist. At the time, they called it a barrel roll.
Yeah, barrel. Yeah, that's what we called it, barrel.
540 aerial, and then it was
aerial hook 540. Yeah. Type 360 hook. Held the foot up in the air. It was a weird, cool combo. I know the one you're talking about. It was awesome.
Upside down, lifting, spinning like this. Is he going to come down? Like Raymond Daniels scored 3 cartwheel kicks before this guy came down. You know what I mean? But then it was that, and then that's when it kind of elevated a little bit. And I remember, my teammates, I was on stage one time, and I felt like, oh my God, I'm starting to get it. Like, wow, putting these together, and you kind of see the process. And it had some success. I wouldn't put myself.
Well, yeah, but Chris, like, this is where people don't give you the credit. You were the first person that did a cheat 9 in a form on stage, like ever.
Bro, I didn't even know what it was called.
I know. That's what I mean. I was like, wait, he did a 900, but he took off this way. What is this called? Like, all right, he's doing a 900. He's doing, instead of a 720, he's hitting with a round. Like, it was so cool in the way you set it up. Yeah.
It was cool.
We were all like, because Daryl Lewis and I are both like, yo, he just did that.
Right. It was cool. Yeah. And it was, and just like you said, these competitors, you take a simple idea, right? Like, I don't know, a jump spin hook kick. And then eventually it becomes, wait, what if I spun twice before I kicked? Now they're doing hurricane kicks. It looks like something out of Street Fighter, but like, that's like the progression if you're willing to go down that road. And I do think you have to be a little bit crazy. I mean, any sport, but definitely sport martial arts. Let me contort this way and try this while I'm upside down. Like, the closest thing I've seen to that, like even before that period when I, was winning a little bit, Rory Bratter as a kid.
Yeah.
You would look 3 rings down. This kid's back flipping twice. He's like, it was insane. It was, it was just really, it was really cool to kind of see that. It was like ahead of his time type thing, so those are like the influence that make you want to be good about it. Now, I'll tell you the day I quit doing forms, I was done, right?
I'm all ears.
Oh man. So I'm on stage. I don't know what tournament it was. And by the way, out there, if I'm pronouncing tournament wrong, I'm sorry. Is it tournament, whatever? whatever schwa symbol you want to put up top of the letter, all good. Right. So I'm on stage. I made the finals, and I'm standing there in my commas. I don't know who made them first. Like the first sport commas, I'm standing there.
Adelore?
Probably Adelore.
Yeah, is that what it was? The special glitter, it reflects in the light. Listen, if you need to replace it, buy tennis racket tape. Like, thanks.
Oh yeah.
So I'm on stage and I perform. I pull a backside 900. I felt really good. I felt sharp. I'm up against this kid. His name was Wayne Deglesh.
Yeah.
Now let me paint a picture. So martial arts, fighting arts. You have someone who's now. I've never been accused of being taller than anybody, but that day I was. I was like
you towered over him,
and he was there. I get up and I'm like going and doing my thing. I thought I nailed it. This kid comes up and he rips it. Like I just spinning the bow staff. I didn't even, boom, nails it.
He's one of the fastest ever.
Man, looks at me and bows like this. He gets 10s. I get the 999. And it was like, and then at that point, it was like, there's an age that I just don't think I'm going to feel comfortable doing that level. Like, I never wanted to be that. Like, I think it's awesome when you step in the ring and you want to compete and be creative, cool. But I am not trying to have a better, I don't know, 1080 than Michael Guthrie. I just feel like the priorities shift. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that was the point where I was like, you know what? And I remember talking to Mark that weekend. He was like, do you want to just focus on being a fighter? Which, when I think back to before it was Capital Classics, I guess it was the Junior Internationals. It's my favorite tournament.
Yeah.
But I used to watch some of these fighters compete, and there was a lot of fighters from Philadelphia. Some of our own Amerikick guys that would fight. There was another big influence in my life, Justin Smith.
Yeah,
he was great fighter, amazing teacher. He doesn't get enough credit for that teaching part. But you'd sit on the silence and take it in. And part of me, it started as wanting to be Tommy Lee from Best of the Best, but then you start watching like Pedro Xavier, Jerry Fontes. Why is this guy winning everything? And then he's lecturing everybody on how to fight. He's giving a seminar after he beats the whole.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to bring your hand up and lead with the what's happening here? So you start studying those guys, and you start to realize that, the fighters that win, they're playing a game of chess when you're playing checkers. They're not necessarily the fastest, the strongest. They're absolutely the smartest in the ring. That's what I learned from Bob Leiker, who has a huge background in psychology. I love reading about psychology. As much as I can go down tangents of stories, like Bob said it. No, I don't talk fast. People listen slow. No, I'm joking. But side note, do you notice
got that out of my mouth? That was
everybody's like, they feel like, can you explain that again? Then you explain it slow and you lose their attention because they're on Instagram or TikTok. It's like,
yeah,
how do you want me to do this? Is there something else? But I can sit in a Barnes and Noble for hours and read as long as I'm mentally engaged and write notes and take notes. And then it was like, apply it to what you do. And then when Bob started talking about these psychological idea, and I'm not talking about fight or flight or I don't know, learned helplessness. No. The psychology. Okay, this guy, every time he kicks, he drops his front hand. He gets tired after 7 kicks. You're going to use movement to time him out, and that's when you're going to score that back fist, right? Or he would say, okay, see that guy? He's over there. When he's nervous, he does this, and when he's boom, he does this. See this fight over here? When he feels good about himself and he's going to kick, he'll start his walk. He'll go like this, and then turn it in the ring. When he's going to punch, he doesn't go as high. Like it was like that Gretzky. Figure out what they're going to do before they can do it, and then using movement and rhythm to break apart someone psychologically, right? Maybe the first fight. I mean, let's just be real. You go to some tournaments. There's, the first fight, they're just not as experienced. Right. So you go heavy kick. Now the next fighter you're going to fight is going to assume that you're going to kick like a ton. Then you use movement blitz, and it throws off the whole pattern of the game. It breaks the rhythm, right? And I remember a gentleman he had on the team, IDC, before it was American World Team, was Larry Tankson. And team fought with him a few times, and he said, he's the first guy I heard say, you'll never win because you're the fastest, although you're faster than most. You're not going to win because you're the strongest. He's like, start hitting the gym. He's like, you're going to win because you're the smartest. Right? The smartest person knows when to do this, that, offensive, defensive. It knows when to recognize you got beaten. What do you learn from it? And it's also smart enough to realize that put me against anybody in a ring except for Raymond Daniels. I'm so glad I never had that experience. You know, I'm so good. But
Is that what he said?
No. That's what I thought.
Oh.
No, he's the only guy that I'm glad I never. What do you do? No, but going back to what I got for those, and Bob would drill his ideas, and then you'd be dead tired working out for 5 hours, and he would ask you questions, like he would say, "All right, guy moves left, and he steps hard with his left foot. What's the move? Off angle slightly, and then blitz." He was like, "Why? Tell me why." He was like, "Did you fix that backhand because it's dropping too much? You're gonna get clocked with a hook kick if it's not up." It's like, oh. He was to me what I imagine Mike Conroy and Richard Plowden and Coach Rodriguez were to their fighters. That's what that was. And I'm not saying I ever would have, like you asked to be on Paul Mitchell. I'm not saying that it was. I wasn't. But if you were, there's such a tie and loyalty to your group of people. So in the sport martial arts world, there was like Mark, and then there was Mark, and there was Bob and the team. You know, and then Amerikick roots. You're talking about Sharon, Dennis, and just the people that I don't want to go rattling off names. Yeah. But that was the brilliance of him. So that said earlier, right? So then he would say all these brilliant things, and I was taking it in. I was like standing there like this, like taking notes when, you know, and sometimes Bob would be like, what you're going to do is, you angle, hit this way, do that. But sometimes he takes his voice down to where it doesn't matter what he says. It's just so epic. Like, tell you what, guys are coming out. Hickory dickory dock. And you're in, like it's like Morgan Freeman captive. He could repeat the cat, and you were like enamored. Like, what's he gonna say? You know what I mean? He drew in, like, and, you know. But I'll never forget that. So he'd say these brilliant, intelligent things, and we had those moments. But then one time I'm like, all right, coach, what are we doing? Angle and punch him in the face. I'm like, that's it? That's what you got for me today? You know, that's what you have. And like, in some weird way, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Like, he was a Pokemon trainer, and he's rolling me out in the battle, like, you know, in an angle and do it. But yeah, that was really cool. There was some fun Bob moments. I mean, one time he told me to throw, like, about being disruptive. I was fighting this guy, Carlos Tierney, in a boxing ring for some exhibition match.
Okay.
And he's like,
You're throwing out some big names here, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Bob, he usually said, how's your cartwheel kick looking? I'm like, under any other circumstance, I'd say great, but I'm in a boxing ring. I'm like David and Goliath. I hadn't done CrossFit at this point in time. I didn't have, I'm like, I'm in there like Ernie Reyes from like Surf Ninjas fighting like a Goliath, you know. But that was fun. But the whole idea was like try to do something disruptive because you got to try to find something to like mess with his rhythm. So I don't know. That was Bob. That was cool though. He was
well, that's a pretty good strategy and also suicide at the same time.
Oh yeah.
But he probably looks at it like with full confidence.
Yeah, concussions. Forget about concussions. You're fine. You know. Medical science will deal with that. But no, that was pretty cool. And then there was like this back and forth too. That was always fun. You know. Mark, I just think to this day, I hope he's watching. I think I just drive him crazy through life. Like he was always like the big brother, and you know, I mean, you have your expressives. Whenever I he was the one. I'll tell you this about Mark. He's the one guy that I will listen to. I will absolutely go and listen to. He's the Professor X of Amerikick. You see all these like talented instructors, and you see team members, and you see personalities. There's a way of just keeping it in line and keeping it running in the same direction. And much as I have told him that, who knows if he's listened, you know, like, but I hope he kind of heard it now. And that's, I think, the magic of that, which was kind of cool. So you talk about him and Bob pairing up. It was all good. That was it. But I know you guys want some different stories. Let me give you one on fighting real quick, just so I don't forget it.
Yeah. And I want to share just about you and Mark's relationship too. But
go. Oh, did you want to go there first, or
Yeah, I'll do it just because the only time I've ever seen you mad was you defending Mark. Okay, and this is a story that I shared on the podcast years ago, Alex, and it ended up being the craziest night of all time. And I don't even know if we're going to get into this, but it kind of all started because Chris was defending someone who was talking trash about Mark. Yeah. And it kind of started a roller coaster of the craziest things of, you know, remember the story where I said I was sitting in Waffle House, and then, you know, Matrix hits this guy.
Wait, that was because of this?
Yeah, and then, you know,
I might have forgotten that story.
You know, then, you know, the story of Raymond Daniels centering a street fight out in the parking lot.
Oh my, I watched that. Yes, I remember that.
All this was because Chris was yelling at this guy, and everyone started, I don't know, the guy just had it coming, man.
No, I remember he was
the reason all that started?
Dude, but think about what you just said. We can't gloss that over. I'm sorry.
I know. No, we're not.
Brandon Daniels was refereeing a fight at a Waffle House. There was eggs on the griddle. There's waffles and syrup and families, and they're going like this. You know who watched that whole thing go down? The comedian Steve Harvey.
Yeah, Steve Harvey was up there. Yeah, he comes down and he gives like Chris, me, Nate Windsor, Daryl Lewis, Willie, all of us like T-shirts. Well, not him, but someone from his team. And I had this like Steve Harvey T-shirt, like comedy tour T-shirt for years. Just left it. I had it in my, and I was like, I need to keep this, but I think it got thrown away.
He was judging a street fight, so I guess there was a parking lot. So there's cars coming in. Your workers are probably beside themselves. They don't know what's going on. Like, they're probably from the city, like or something. What are you doing, right? But that was hysterical, and this guy was causing trouble, talking trash, and then I'm not going to put my daughter on the spot, but the other day she said to me, I'm going to count down from 3, and you tell me what animal we are. What he's like, if you had to be an animal, what? 3, 2, 1, wolf. It's almost like we said it at the same time. It's like you protect like your people, like it's just how it goes within reason. Like sometimes, like maybe you shouldn't have done that. Like, but in that case, this guy was he was talking trash, talking smack to people, making fun, talking about people's saying inappropriate things about people's spouse. It just it was just too much. And I don't know. He's trying to be almost like a shock sport martial art something or coach or
it was weird.
He was I don't want to say the name really, but it's
no.
But I remember the haircut was awesome. It had something similar to like Dumb and Dumber 1 with the like all the way around with the bowl cut, and if you can imagine, because it's not like you're dealing with like a tough looking human, like an NFL player. You're dealing with like this guy. You're dealing with like Lloyd Christmas over here, and he's like trying to like, what are you doing? You're wearing the pine tree shoes at the Waffle House parking lot with a belt. By the way, guys, within reason, take your gi off before you go out of the hotel.
100%. Have you gone out with guys who wore their top?
Go back. We're not doing this unless you go back. I've seen guys at the convenience store punching that screen in a headband and a karate gi and a belt, and they're wearing like Cole Haans and they're like a Bacon Club extra mayo. Like, you don't do that. You can't.
I got one for you, Chris. I think I mentioned this on the pod before. BJ Garnahan's a good friend of mine. Right? We went out one time and we just met out. We were in downtown Minneapolis, and I just met up with him, and he wore it with such confidence that I had to double take that he was even wearing it. He's wearing, and it's summertime, so he's wearing like shorts and like whatever sneakers on. They look nice, and he's got a rec suit top. Right. And I'm like, because it's a rec suit, it's kind of like, you're towing the line. You're not quite sure, right? But I have the same uniform, right? So I'm looking at it like, wait, what? What are you? You gotta look them up and down. Like, what are you wearing? Are you wearing your team? Didn't we just wear that? What are you doing? Right?
You can put it on. You can do the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. You know what I mean? Like
Jason Tankson used to wear his to the club, dude. Jason Tankson used to wear his CJB navy blue rec suit pants to the club.
Don't you believe there's people that get passes like, insert NASCAR promoter, insert Bob. I mean, or Richard Plowden or like Mike Conner. They show up in the gigs. What's up, Sensei? How you doing, Coach? Like you get a pass.
Yes.
It's like an old like mafia boss walks in.
There's one other one that happened. Now I was not present for this, but I'll say who said it. Raymond told me exactly what it was, and he goes, "This was in this phase where it was like our ring stars. Do people like them? Do people hate them? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So this is a thing that happened. Hugh was kind of like he was the manager of the All-Stars. But he has a different personality as other like team like managers, right? Totally different personality. So he's like, you guys aren't going out. And I guess it was the US Open, and he took their shoes. All right.
Oh my God.
And so then Ray was like, these ring stars are nasty. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, Hugh took our shoes, told us we couldn't go out. Right. And I said, I'm a grown man. I'll go out if I want to go out.
Right.
They went out in ring stars. They went out to the club in ring stars and fought with them the next day.
Oh,
that is hysterical. That's a great story.
Yeah.
What's the moral of the story? Don't steal their shoes, bro. Like, no, I'm joking. But could you imagine that conversation? Like, guys, I took your shoes because I didn't want you to go out. Imagine like some of the top fighters on that team. Like, here we still did it. Are we cut? Like,
Exactly.
Like, but what? Yeah, maybe they started a trend. Like if it was TikTok back in the day, TikTok trend. That's hysterical. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised Joe Greenhall didn't yell at them.
Right.
That guy's hysterical. I don't think that guy knows how funny he is, but when you talk to him behind the scenes, I don't know. It's always been kind of cool to me. But no, that's a great story. I forgot about that Waffle House story. Like, where are we? Did that ever happen to Jordan, Pippen, or like, I don't know, Peyton Manning? Did they ever end up at Waffle House throwing footballs with like Bruce Buffer? Like,
that's right.
Like it's crazy out your mind. So
I was back at that hotel this year for Brian Pinna's tournament, and I was like, all right, I'm going to the Waffle House. They tore the Waffle House down. It's not there anymore. I'm like, wait a minute. In South Carolina, they tore a Waffle House down? That makes no sense.
What do they put up? Let me guess. A vape shop? I'm kidding.
Yep.
Like everywhere.
No, you're right. You're actually right.
Was it really a vape shop?
You're
amazing, right? That's going down. What's this place? Oh, it's a vape shop. Oh my God.
That is kind of the MO. If you look at that, you'd be like, oh yeah, Midwest tax closed. What's going in there next? Next week it's a vape shop. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it's either like the best laundering business there is, or it's just like the margins are amazing because there's no way they're just popping up like popcorn.
In Philly, it's vape shops and cheesesteak places. Everybody.
In Philly, yeah.
Like if all the things to be focused on, hey, you've been following the cheesesteak wars? No, I haven't. I have children and a job. No, I'm kidding.
So
karate
there's
school.
no such thing.
But no, I'm joking. But it is fun conversation. So,
yeah.
But is there just no such thing as too many cheesesteak places in Philly?
There are ones that are significantly better, and there's like ones that've been around forever, and there's.
But like they're all pretty popular, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you go to a regular pizza spot, you can get a good cheesesteak. But if you want to go for like talk about trimming away all the things that don't matter, like no, forget your pizza, screw your fries. We're going cheesesteaks. Like those are the guys that are hardcore and like, let's make this the best recipe ever. Right. But there's a couple of them that are the top. And yes, it's really tough in Philadelphia though, like you said, to bump into the spot and not get a good cheesesteak. So,
wow.
That's cool. It's just like karate. Everybody tells you how their instructor does it better, or like,
of course.
But I don't want to forget the Brian Plimple story.
Yes.
Please do.
It's real fast, but he was Bob's coaching me. It's team fighting, and we're at a Texas tournament. I don't know, I forget which one.
Probably El Paso, maybe.
I don't know if it was that, but I remember we were team fighting, and then we were Brian and I going at it. Right, Brian punches me in the face harder than I've ever been punched. And I don't know, and I'm trying to teach my kids this. You get punched in the face, you don't get disqualified. You wipe the blood off your nose and you get back in. Like that's what you do, right? That's what you do. Not like and cry like what?
No.
So
you can't show them that it affected you because now they're going to hurt you more.
Yeah, right. Or imagine, remember when DQ was a thing, like trying to win because there's
that's crazy.
Trying to win because you're bleeding. Like I don't know. I just don't think. Why do we travel here to do that?
Right. But
I went back to. I swear, you called it timeout. He had the fanny pack at the time. That's when it was cool. Then it wasn't. Then Joe Rogan brought it back. But the fanny pack. The chapstick, he does the thing like, yeah, you awake now? I'm like, yes, when you get tackled by an NFL linebacker, you're awake, It felt like I got tackled by Brian Urlacher. Like, could you just get him out of it? They put it, I'm angling, trying to hit him with a side axe kick, and this guy's, he just, boom. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like a Boston Mike Tyson's punch out that you can't get past. They're just like, but no, I just so hard. And then I guess they did like a newspaper thing where all of the team fighters were on the local newspaper. I had Brian Plimple fist on my face, and I had to pull off a smile. You know what I mean? Like this. I'm looking like, I look like the losing team from the World Cup. That's what I look like at the time. You know what I mean? Like that. So like I had that face going on. But yeah, that was crazy. He told me, he's like, you awake now? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I concussions, maybe some permanent brain damage, but I'm fine. Let me get back in there, but yeah, no, that was really cool. And then this was crazy too. I'll get this in.
No, yeah.
Mike Bernardo, please fact check me. Was he a stunt coordinator for the Ninja Turtles?
I don't know about
the
that.
Original movie. So the guy was amazing. You watch him on the NASCAR, the
Right.
WMEC Masters, which every kid on Saturday morning ran home, and wanted to be.
Correct.
But I don't know if he was a stunt. It doesn't matter. But he was the head judge at a tournament, I believe. I'm not even going to quote a city. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, Lord knows I'll offend somebody. No, it wasn't in El Paso. It was Austin. Like, I'm sorry. That was an important detail. Like, my bad. But he was the head judge. And my teammates, Kevin, Ronell, Bob was coaching. We were IDC at the time. Shaquille O'Neal had a karate team at the time. It was called.
Oh, yes. So this is WSKF. So, yeah.
We're on stage at the WSKF. We're on stage at the finals. There's like bleachers, and you know how it goes. They watch the extreme tricking, and then all of a sudden people have to migrate to the bar. So we're, but there's a little bit of a crowd. Mike Bernardo is the head judge, the choreographer for Ninja Turtles. I don't know if he was a Ninja Turtle or not, but I'm pretty sure he was. We're fighting Shaquille O'Neal's team on the other side, right? Yes, he wasn't there. Shaq wasn't there, thank God. But, now my teammate Ronell, this kid did the bow, punched him in the face, like the match didn't even start. Then there's a brawl. You've got me running in. I got someone in a headlock. I don't even know who it was. It could have been like a family member, and I apologize if you weren't on the team. But I was like, uppercut. Ronell comes in. Kevin came in. If you remember, Kevin had this sick axe kick. He was like, he skated across the floor. I'm like, don't do that. It's like a real fight. Like, Alex Davidoff, who Bob calls fresh, which I don't understand anyway, but all good.
Yeah.
He runs out of the stands. He's wearing those like Kenneth Cole slippers. One falls off. He's shoeless. He's running into the mix, and it's a bench clearing brawl. Shaquille O'Neal, the Ninja Turtles, the choreographer, and then our team are battling on stage, and they pull us up. Like, you couldn't script it like anything else. And then I think it was online for a little bit. Can you take that down? You know how people get.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned that our students will see that, and I don't want them to see us in a certain light. But yeah, that was a really memorable moment. And I think we finished the fight and we won, which is cool. I mean,
was J-Dog on that one, on one of those teams? Because I think he fought with them for a while, and I know Brian Young fought on that team because at one point, like, that was the dad was one of the main, like, that was the one who got.
I mean, they were great fighters. It was just, I guess, the one guy in particular that kind of went out. But yeah, it was interesting. And Ninja Turtle actually saved the day. Like, he actually came in. And if he strapped on the blue headband afterwards, that would have been it. That would have been like the exclamation point. So
yeah, I mean, I know he was in some movies. He was in the Shoot Fighter movie and some other ones like that. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But
yeah, good old Bernardo. That's hilarious, dude.
No,
I missed that tournament, so yeah, I was not there for that one. That was definitely crazy.
I'm definitely, and I won't. Well, there's a few other stories too. Like, it's time to kind of move on from sport martial arts. When this is actually when I knew it was time to pack it in. I was going to fight the World Combat League. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I guess it's still around. Maybe it's called something different.
No, it's not.
No, there's karate combat.
That's what I'm thinking of. Karate.
I think that's what you're thinking of.
And
but
total
the World Combat League was a time.
It was a time. And I remember
you fight in it.
Well, here you go. This is when I decided to move on.
I was talking about the World Combat League today. This is so funny.
Right. Oh yeah. One of our schoolers still had like the chair slips and like had it over top and so like maybe it's time. Let's just go to IKEA, get a nice new spread, but I don't know. They had like the slip covers over the chairs. But no, so Bob's like, yeah, we want to make a run at it. Like, I think that's where the communication got to a point because I guess like I kind of understood what he was thinking. You have that kind of relationship with your coach at some point. I said, yeah, let's go do it. Now I'm hanging out with Jason Borelli, and in a local like establishment in the city. We're hanging out, and I said, Jay, tell me about it because I know you're fighting it. Like, what is it like? I'll never forget what he said. I don't even know if he'll remember this way. Every month, someone's going to try to take your head off and hurt you and kill you. Yeah. You seem to have a passion for martial arts business, entrepreneurship. You mentioned that Amerikick wants to expand and have more schools, and and you want to have kids. You express, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Because you can't have both.
He's right.
That was it.
Yeah.
And it's like find another way to feed that competitive addiction, and then luckily you get into things like fitness, different ways to push yourself,
Right.
teaching on the mat, understanding that just because you can do a backside 900, that doesn't mean you can teach kids.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that, and that was it. And it kind of And I was like, all right, I'm ready. And although I will fanboy out about certain things, like at the tournament, like I was done what I had to be done, and that was it. It's not like I miss it in the sense where I want to get back in there, where, you know, so, but that was that. It made perfect sense. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
So, Chris, what weight were you at that time? Like, how much did you weigh?
I fluctuate between light, middle, and middle.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And that was mostly NBL,
Mm-hmm.
which were different weight classes than NASCAR.
So what's that weight class?
I'll be real.
180?
I didn't even pay attention. I just stepped on the scale.
Yeah, no, I think so. Light middle was 161 and under. Light middle was 161 and under.
So you were like the mid 170s.
163 and then mid 170.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good times.
you might have made a good decision. So I want to tell you. So I had the world. It's so funny because I had the World Combat League talk as well.
Mhm.
And I remember when it happened, Bill Superfoot Wallace
Love
came
him.
up to Elias Lemon and I at the same time. We're at the U.S. Open, and he's like, "You guys are some of the best kickers."
You got me. What did he say? You got me. I'm hooked.
Yeah. He's like, "You guys are some of the best kickers in this entire tournament." And Elias and I are like, "You freaking kidding me? Awesome. Yes. I mean, I think so too. So thank you." But right. And he's like, "You guys have got, there's this World Combat League, and I'm like, we're in." So we in. So we still have our pads on, and he's giving us stuff to fill out. We're filling it out with our hand pads on. I'm not even making it up. Right? We do that. We're like, dude, Bill Superfool was. He came up, he said, "Chuck Norris, fight TV, $1 million. What else is there to know?" Right?
That's awesome. Meanwhile, you got to fight a guy who's standing across looking at you like he wants to eat you for breakfast. You know,
So
but sir,
then-
you're the godfather of kicking. You can't not listen to Bill Wallace. You're the godfather of kicking. You invented
So
the
here's
hook.
what happened next.
Yeah.
So then I get the call not even a week later. I would say like 4 days later, right? So then it's Corey Schaefer, right? So Corey Schaefer, big in the ISKA, has a lot to do with the U.S. Open in the sport martial arts realm and fighting realm for decades and decades.
Mhm.
So he gives me a call and he goes, "Hey, I see that you filled this out. This is great. We're really looking, for someone to be on one of our headliner fights." And I'm like, "Well, I thought it was kind of a team match." "Well, yeah, it's kind of a team match, but we need someone to fight Raymond Daniels, and we think that that's you." And I'm like, you're trying to make me the sacrificial lamb. And I'm like, "Well, what weight is he fighting?" And Corey goes, "Well, what weight are you?" Like, what? And I'm like, "Well,
At what
you
point
know
did you
who,
stop punching that guy in the face for suggesting that? I'm kidding. You know, like,
And I'm like,
oh my God.
listen, at that time, like, I wasn't as
Right.
good, right? So I'm like, there's no way, right? So I'm like, who you should really consider? There's a friend of mine, BJ. I think he'd be great, which I already mentioned. And he goes, "Can he fight Raymond Daniels?" And I'm like, "Oh, so I get what you're doing now. You're just looking for anybody because you need to give it to Ray." And we're all saying no.
That's great.
Right.
Folks,
Now I got it.
don't
So
you
that
love
might have been you.
Don't you love that when people think you're just not smart enough to know what they're doing? But you're looking at them like they're in kindergarten, and you're like, on another level, you're like, "Do you really think that was going to work?" Like when I was younger, do you really think I'm in the Barnes and Noble right now. I'm not going to fight Manny Reyes in a cage because I think at some point, would you?
Yeah.
No, I'm in the self-help section. I'm busy. I'm good. I'm done. Those days are done. I'm good. And I'm like, I'm not flying anywhere to fight someone in a cage. Like, again, from the outside looking in, like, could you imagine telling that to like one of your friends? "I'm gonna go fight a guy in a cage in Florida. Like, they'll pay for the flight, but we'll see how it goes." Like, it's. Are you
say it out loud.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
That's exactly it. When you say these things out loud, that's when you're like, "This is
Yeah,
ridiculous." Okay, I hear it now. I hear it, right?
right. It's crazy. But
You know what's interesting about the cage, though, Chris, is I kind of wish we would have gotten a chance to do something like this. I don't know if you saw it when Jesse Ray was doing the virtual fight tour, and he was doing point fighting in the cage. That looked kind of cool.
That's a different element. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And for the record, I like the more keep the action going, hard hitting game of tag, not tag.
Right.
Not like this, like let's forcible hit type thing. Like I like those style rules. I guess there's leagues that promote. I know you see at the internationals, and like I just don't like it when it becomes tap and move. No, there's some stoppable force that has to happen with these strikes and these hits and these movements. And being a cage would have been another element. If nothing else, it's a cage. Psychologically, like something primitive must kick in. I'm in a cage, fighting,
Right.
and and just the whole environment, the vibe of it, just real cool. I'm not fighting the human cheat code, Raymond Daniels, and I'm good, sir. Good. It would be cool. How about 2-on-1? How about he could use one leg? Was this Theocles? What are we in the Coliseum? What do you want me to do here? It's just like, what am I, Spartacus?
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
But
hey, so Chris, hold on. I want to share, I want you to share some of your favorite rivalries. All right. So I know for me, the first one that I remember in reading in the magazine, and that was the cool thing about NBL was you had the magazine, it had the write up for everything. And, and it was all about you and Adam Longoria spinning hook kicking each other like 20, 30 times in each fight, and continuous fight and then point fight. And just for me, that was the first one that I think of, but I don't know if that was, one of your favorite ones.
I don't know if it's crazy. You say rivalry. I don't know if there have been a few times where I'm like, you know what? I will win. I have to win. I'm going to win. Adam, I believe if we lived closer to each other, we'd be as close as family. That's how tight we were. And maybe people saw that, or maybe they didn't. But it was one of those things where you'd go at it. And if you didn't go at it hard, it's almost like, what are you doing? Like, harder. Let's go. Push each other. And afterwards, there was always a hug. There was always a great job. And we hung out at every karate tournament.
Every tournament, yeah.
It was like, you saw myself and Nick Perdon everywhere, right? People are like, you guys related? I'm like, yes, just different family tree. Yeah. He's I like, I look like the Spanish soccer team. Nick, he's on the Irish soccer. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, we're not. But no, right there was Adam Longoria. I couldn't wait to go to every karate tournament just to see, because there was a friendship, a camaraderie. Those conversations and the mischief you got into after these events were so much fun, But I will say this about him: he was the first competitor that I fought against. But I learned something about myself every single time I fought him.
Ooh.
And if I lost, it's odd. I didn't like losing, which is weird because I disliked losing more than I loved winning. I don't know if that was the healthiest mindset, but Adam was the one I didn't feel that. It was almost like, all right, my brother pushed me to be better. Like we were like that. We became real tight real early. So I still believe to this day that, if he was, local in the area, and life takes you in every direction, but real close friends. But, of course, you would go back and watch tape and say, okay, he fired 4 spin kicks before he started to lose endurance. So after the 5th one, you can time the blitz. The second the knee comes up and then go, right? Or you see, notice how he bends his knee before he steps in and does this. That's what you're going to time with your step in, chamber the knee, hook kick. Of course you watch film and pick him apart like every other fighter, going back to trying to be the smartest and not necessarily, because to be honest, otherwise it's what, 2 men running into each other and who's tougher and stronger, who falls down first. But Adam was like that, and never any yes, competitive, but there never was a negative resentment or a rivalry like Celtics and I don't know, insert rivalry, Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. There wasn't anything like that. It's but love. Now Jason Borelli, I don't know if he was my favorite person to fight because I guess the game was similar. He was just at another level. He was older. And I love fighting. It was just it was like climbing that mountain. What can I score? What can I do? Maybe I lost 4-1, but I didn't lose 7-1. Maybe I lost 5-2. I gained steam. I learned that if I blitzed on this part, he'd stick the side kick. So if I fake an off angle, you'd have a different result. You know what I mean? It was so that was another one. I always loved fighting him, and I always loved watching him and Raymond go at it. That was always a cool thing to watch. So
because
really.
Jason's skill set was odd because it seemed relatable, and then at the same time completely unrelatable. Because you look at him and you're like, you're an average size person. Your stature is not intimidating. I see everything that you're doing. You have a right side forward. Lead leg attack. You have a fast follow up. I know how to do all that. I do all of that. But for some reason, my 2 eyes have never seen anybody who does it like you. Everything we teach doesn't make sense. to
Right.
what he does. You know
It
how
was like an evolved version of all those techniques, like that front leg.
I'm gonna give you one little thing. You know how your martial arts school, you guys have some kind of bar or something to ledge to balance while people are doing kicking, right?
Right.
His school's never had that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's never had that.
So
Never.
he was, like trained by Miyagi on the Rock, you know.
Essentially, like, there's nothing. There's nothing in there. I've been in the school, right? I've been in there, and there's nothing. It's so much so that one time it was Larry Jr. Promise, this is what he said. When he's in the school, he goes, "Do all of your schools have these ballet bars?" And I'm like, "Oh, man, they're just bars. Like we all have them, just to kind of."
I love that.
Wait, have you never seen this?
Right.
And he's like, "No, I've never seen this before."
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. When you guys practice kicks, what do you do? He goes, "Are we just staying on a fighting stance?" I'm like, time out. What?
Right.
What?
Right.
So you mean to tell me Jason Borelli is that while never having to reinforce balance, it just came? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's like a magical power, like that. Right?
Yes.
Crazy. And by the way, he had the Magic Johnson smile. Like he was like, so like, yeah, this guy, is he that tough? And then he is. But going back to Larry, it's funny. Larry Tankston said that about the balance beam.
Larry Jr.
Okay. Larry Senior. I'll never forget one time he was explaining something similar to that to Bob, and I was standing there with Bob. Funny little side story. Like, I think he's fighting a lot, but he's got some breath. And he reached into the fanny pack and gave him a stick of gum in the moment. I thought that was like a weird moment. And it was like, I'm like, oh my God, are they going to fight now because he told him his breath stunk in the moment? So it was like, yeah, let me repeat that. Larry Texas now I was putting up with the blast because he was spitting knowledge. I was taking it all in, right? I was like, yes, sir. Yeah, I got it, right? And then Bob says, tell you what, you got some breath, Larry. And then gave like a stick of gum in the moment. Was like, and it was like this pleasant interaction. Now, if it was Richard Plowden and Larry, I think they probably would have fought. But it was like this whole thing. But like, you think about how like these crazy, amazing not genius ideas, but like these cool like ideas that high level athletes train with, and they're talking about and discussing it, and then to go back to something basic like, you need some gum, man. Like, you know what I mean? It was just so crazy to feel like the disparity of it.
So funny.
Yeah, crazy. Anyways, but I know we've been going for a little bit, but and I can hang out, all good, but I want to stay on the schedule and what you guys have going on. So.
Oh yeah, well, Chris, I just want to share. I want you to share before we finish up. What's your favorite thing and something you're so excited about next week at Amerikick Internationals?
Watch my daughter compete.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So what's she gonna do?
Level?
So she's gonna compete in the demo team divisions. She's and it was just I had one of those moments with her and with my son in his sport. I said, what is it that you want to be the absolute best at? Because you're going to have to sacrifice certain things. We're starting to have those talks like, daddy in this day in life loves, teaching, martial arts, CrossFit. I love fitness, right? What is the thing that you want to do and you want to be amazing at? And you can't lie to me, and you've got to be ready to sacrifice things. And no matter what, my daughter with almost like the head went down and up. I want to be on stage. I want to do it with my chucks. I said, okay. And of course, inside you don't want to tear up, but you almost do. I said, we're gonna work on it, and Daddy's gonna teach you how. I still say Daddy. They call me Dad or Bro. I don't get that, but Daddy's gonna give you every resource that you need to get to where you need to go. But you have to listen. You have to understand. It's not going to feel comfortable. And when I start telling you certain things, it's because I've kind of been there, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. So yeah, man, I'm gonna look. Nobody hugged me at the internationals because of the story, by the way. Like, oh, that was so sweet. Stop. I don't know your first name again. What is it? It is. I don't know. But like,
how old is your daughter?
She's 13.
13. Oh,
13. And she every time she performs or hits a certain milestone, and this is for both of my kids, I can't hold it. It's like the Sebastian start balling inside. It's just, and I think that reinvigorated my, like, you talk about like traveling and wanting to go to different tournaments and bump into it again. Okay. It's not just to see Kurt Schreier and the fact that he looks like Tom Cruise and the guy doesn't age, right? No, he was another awesome guy. But no, watching my daughter, that just came out almost instinctively. It's just, and then you try not to overdo it. Like, I never want to be that guy screaming in a 9-year-old's face, like, you got this, let's go. I'm like, dude, he just stopped believing in the Easter Bunny. You can't yell at him like that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing, bro? The kid plays Roblox. He crushes in Rivals. Like, and you're hitting him with, like, how bad do you want it? Like, relax, you know? My God.
Talking about chicken fingers.
Oh my God, chicken fingers, fries, and apple slices, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, it's to see my daughter do it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna. Yeah, that'll spark something. So, but yeah, can't wait. And of course,
awesome.
to see everybody there and Boost Power Baby, love that dude. It's funny.
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
is.
it's gonna be a great one, Chris. And man, I'm excited. Again, I love the new venue, and I love just the organization, everything you guys do. And for me, it's just cool that anywhere else I go to tournaments, not everyone that I grew up with is still involved in it or somehow. You know what I mean? But you go to Amerikick, and I see you, I see Nick, I see Schluter, I see Justin, I see all these guys. I see Alex Davidov, I see all these people that I grew up with, and we get to reminisce and hang out, and it's just a lot of
spoiler
fun.
alert, you're going to see me competing with an oar in traditional.
right.
I'm joking. I'm kidding. That's not. No, I'd mess. I don't even know the names of these traditional katas. I pretend. Go see who. What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a great routine. It's awesome. I don't know. Yeah, crazy. But no, you're right. Can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be a blast. Great venue, and I can't thank you guys enough. Alex, first time we talked, you're the man. You guys are great, and I'm a big fan. So thank you.
Awesome.
I'm now a big fan. This is amazing. Chris,
So
you
much
got to
fun.
be on every anniversary episode because this is
Yeah, I know,
awesome.
it's been so much
This is
fun.
one of my favorite ones we've ever done. This is so
I'm gonna
cool.
be the Artie Lang of the Inside Scoop.
Oh man,
right.
awesome,
on, guys.
awesome. Thanks, Chris. Have a great rest of your night, bud.
All right, later, bro.
Take care, dude. Talk to you soon.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.